Well, as we're sitting here at LTV on this beautiful morning, indeed a beautiful morning, I guess it's just borderline morning, afternoon, Friday, August 25th, year 2023, here with the Hello Hello Show. And my name is Haim Mizrahi, continuing with the tradition of public access and the tradition of the Hello Hello Show that's been on the air since 1980. Of course, not to fail to mention the contribution by Fraser Dougherty, Francis Ann, and of course, the likes of you out there who make it your business to enhance and fortify the concept of public access. And we thank you for that. And you should be able to thank yourselves for that. So I just wanted to do one adjustment here. And of course, we have the wonderful group art shows here, monthly group art shows, and you're always welcome to attend and to check the art and the wonderful heritage that we have created along the years. And that speaks for the volume of the level of creativity that we here at LTV try very hard to not only maintain but see what's this. Yes, that's good because I cannot see one. That's good. So yeah, I might have Steve Brown come and see us, but besides the fact, we'll continue and just go over the aspect of not only being engaged with this concept, this wonderful concept called public access, but also the connotation and the relationship between that and a long journey that awaits us. And that long journey is really a a a constant attempt to reach some kind of a fragile agreement between yourself and what is the line that you draw to say, okay, I reach this line and then I turn around, go right back to square one in order to initiate a, a new line of communication. And that's how I feel in the studio. And I noticed that many artists here in this community, whom happen to be my friends, and I do now go and periodically and visit individuals in their own sacred artistic shrine. Yeah, but you find the similarities. It's very encouraging to see and to realize how similar the feelings and the reservations are in that domain in immediate vicinity that we as creative individuals, and for the most part, creative or not, this is the immediate vicinity that you create upon which you conduct your business and you kind of unfold and undress your spirit and your soul and your psyche and your state of mind, and by doing so creating a solid foundation where you can really sing the song and dance the dance, and like they have the rhyming storytelling prose that inhabits and owns a unique line of communication. And it's funny how sometimes when you are in the midst of the creative zone, you bump into certain things that are just so mind blowing and so powerful and so put together for the sake of maybe one little tiny point to be made, and but to be proven that in the long run is immeasurably important. Now, I know that it sounds as if you sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about, or what is it that he's talking about anyway, to know whether he's talking about something that he knows that he's talking about and therefore he knows what he's talking about. But the fact that you are a part on a regular basis of that creative zone that serves as a deterrent, and and can you believe it? So loud. Hey, Andrew.
Hello, Haim. How are you?
Good. You just caught me live doing a live show, so you're on the air now.
Oh, that's cool. I'll say hi to all my friends in the Hamptons.
Yes, Andrew Bailey is calling me now, so I couldn't resist the temptation and I answered the phone.
Yeah. So,
So good
shall
to
I?
hear from you. So, how are you adapting coming back?
Excellent. It's wonderful to be back. You should see this house where we are. I designed and built it for a Belgian artist, and it's just wonderful. We should get you over here for a visit sometime.
Or maybe send some images would be nice.
I've got plenty of that. Yeah. I'm very interested in the show in October that you mentioned. That's what I wanted to discuss. And
And
this
that
is,
makes me happy. Wonderful.
yeah, and that's probably not the time to do it, or can we do it on the air?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually interesting because I just mentioned the ongoing show that we have now. And Andrew Bailey is not only a good friend to LTV and to the Hello Hello show, a musician, of course an artist, and of course an incredible, an important thinker. I dare say a modern philosopher. No.
I would say yes, and if you'd like a job as my public relations person, I have an opening.
Yes, there you go.
Thank you, my friend. That's very kind of
But
you.
yeah, definitely without any. I remember the old days where you were accommodating and yielding and really you cared for the other, and you wanted people to succeed and to realize their capabilities and talents.
Well, that's beautiful to hear that. You know, one doesn't often get that kind of feedback, and that's really valuable. I thank you.
Because I got it firsthand from you when I first met you, so it's easy to speak the way I do.
We spent a lot of time together back in the day, and I've been gone for 20 years now. Can you believe it? I've been out west and come back.
That's
Just
just went by.
meeting
Oh my God, so fast.
and now the grandchildren. You've been meeting the grandchildren.
Yeah, did you meet your granddaughter?
Still not.
Oh boy.
I tried to get to Kauai to be there for her birth, but I was unable to do that. And I've got a cool monkey little creature to give her when I do meet. I'll probably see her this weekend.
I'm
Because
um,
we've,
I'm happy for you. She's as precious as they come.
yeah, I can't wait to meet her. Seriously, yeah. So, and of course, her mom, Julia, is an artist, and is she in a current show coming up at Ashawag Hall?
No, no, at the Southampton Library.
Oh, Southampton Library.
Yeah, yeah. I hooked her up with the people, and she got lucky. And also, she was a part of the show here at LTV
I
last
know.
year. Yeah,
I,
very
yeah,
nice.
that was wonderful.
She's definitely the real deal. But I just wanted to mention that to the audience out there, the Andrew Bailey is a great artist, and especially with the exciting latest work. I work with him on having. I think I wanted to be really as close to kind of full body of work as we can, so we can tell a story, and I think we have the space for that, which is great. So and then we're looking forward to having you here on the show, and we can kind of really talk details and all this. But I'm,
Yeah,
I'm glad I'm glad you're going to be a part of it.
that sounds wonderful. I feel honored and I'm excited about that. And what it means is that I have to start preparing these pieces,
Yes.
which are digital. So it's digital files. So I have to figure out, the printing, the mounting, all of those things, and the sizes. So I want to just catch up with you as to what. Let's have a. I'd like to have a conversation sooner rather than later because October's right around the corner, and I need to get this going. My printer's out in Colorado.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Listen, there's no size too big and no size too small.
yeah. So I'll probably do a series of pop art at 32 inches by 32, and
Yes.
then see what else. I'll be perfectly happy just to have a series of at that size. So we'll see. I might go to 40 by 40.
Yes, that's your choice. Both ways it will work well. As long as we can show like almost like a line of somewhat of an indirect evolutionary process, so people will get a taste that will satisfy them in terms of wanting more.
Uh huh. Uh huh. So you've seen it. And in fact, if you go to the website now, I just put up my digital watercolors. I just put up 12 images yesterday. If you go to CameronBaxterGalleries.com,
Cameron Baxter Gallery.
Cameron Baxter Galleries, plural, because it's actually nine galleries
Got
in
it.
one. Yeah.
So Cameron Baxter's Galleries.com.
Yeah, CameronBaxterGalleries.com, and go to the digital watercolors sub gallery, and you'll see my latest work. I really
Great,
love
that's
it.
Andrew Bailey. Yes.
Yeah, I was doing that really bright pop art, and this is much more subtle and very beautiful. I'm kind of moved to have, so it's so now I do both ends of the spectrum, from pop to watercolor.
Great, and we can also combine some percussion playing, which I do. Even if I have to play alone, sometimes I always have to include
Ah,
some percussion. So last time actually I did
and
no one
maybe
showed up, and I did a 12-minute solo.
yeah, exactly. And we could maybe get Daniel to come and anyone else
Yes, yes.
from the old tribe.
Actually, for Julia's show, he showed up, and we had a
I,
great trio with
I
Curtis,
was
him, and
there.
I. Yeah, it was great.
I was there, and
Oh, you were there, of course. What am I
I,
saying?
I got photographs. I sat in with you guys, and I got photographs. So
Oh my God! Oh my God! I forgot all about it. Sorry, apologies.
I was there.
So yeah, now you owe me those images. I would love to have some of them.
I'll go back and check on them. Right. Okay, that's from 1 year ago, right?
That's
August.
correct. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, anytime you want to talk, or you can also email me or text me. But let's just say that tentatively, we're definitely including you for the October show.
That sounds wonderful. Let me
Okay.
just determine how many pieces. I have one more question, and that
Yes.
we present workshops, retreat workshops. Do you know if that's a possibility at Ashwag? A friend was suggesting that, saying, "Why don't you do a workshop there? Because we're doing something up in
You
Massachusetts."
could. You could. It's just a matter. I'll talk to you about it later, and then I'll give you the insight on it.
Yeah, and who to speak to on that
Yes.
subject.
Yes. Yes. Of course. Of course.
All right, beautiful,
Good.
Haim.
So listen, so good to hear from you, and I'm glad I answered the phone. And you saved me from myself with your timing, because I was like talking about some heavy duty stuff.
Oh yeah, going off in your
I
philosophical.
think the
No,
mic
no, no.
was melting.
The mic was melting. Well, like a hot mic.
Yes, or hot mouth.
There you go, hot mouth and hot mic, right? All
Well,
right.
enjoy the weekend and enjoy your granddaughter, and I'll definitely talk to you sooner than later.
Yeah, and we'll be out. We'll be out east. We're
Perfect.
here at Hampton for probably most of next. About midweek, we'll come. We'll definitely be there for Labor Day weekend.
Perfect. Wonderful.
Okay.
Good. We'll talk to you soon. All the best, Andrew.
And all the best to you.
Bye
Thanks.
bye.
Bye. Bye.
That was Andrew Bailey. Um, I mean, Dan Bailey's dad. If you, of course, you all might know and should know Dan Bailey, the wonderful musician. But yeah, so I'm excited that he will show his work in the group art show that's going to take place again in October. September, Dan Weldon is going to be here with his fantastic prints and a lot of other exciting things that will take place here and take place here as we speak. So, I wanted to be able to go back to that chain of thought that I had, that we want to be able. How did I say to my friend yesterday? To be able to introduce power uh, via strength that is specific, that is clear and present, and when it's there, you don't have to work on a way uh, in order to gain that access fluently. If I can make myself clear at all, um, that it's actually how should I say, a, a mechanism that favors itself and kind of reduces the level of its complexity to a minimum, at least when it comes to your technical skills of operations. The operational technical skills of yours will be we won't be needed. It will become just pressing one button and you're in, which is something that is much to be desired. And nowadays, when receive your baggage or furniture, and then you realize why it was costed you so cheap, because it takes so many hours and effort to put it together. So the concepts that go hand in hand and parallel lines, and the message that you um, uh, packing the density of the message, so it will really speak its piece and show its worthiness, and excusing itself for taking so much time and effort, but coming back with the results that will ease the pain, if there's at all any pain to begin with, or clarify the confusion. Because when we get to a point where we're overwhelmed, we experience confusion, and that confusion is really something that goes hand in hand with the panic attacks. The confusion before, during, and after. Can you imagine just going through these kind of basic confusions before, during, and after, without even relating to the fear factor that panic attacks can plant in your heart? I remember once I experienced a panic attack, but it wasn't really a panic attack, and but it was a form of a panic attack, and I said to myself, "Oh my God, if this is just the earliest, the lightest version possible of a panic attack, then then I started feeling for my friends, those whom ever approached me and told me about what they had to go through, or that they did go through something and as far as panic attacks are concerned, and all this. So why am I saying it? So that confusion. You're confused. Another way to say disoriented, and it's another way to say kind of shaky, kind of lightheaded, and that's before the fear factor comes and pierces your heart, and just everything goes to shreds, but you're still alive and breathing. That's the funny thing of it. You're still alive and breathing, so you realize while you're having a stroke or a heart attack, you can actually stop it. You can actually stop it before it starts really causing irreversible damage, something like this, to that effect. Why am I saying that? Because it's that strong desire of coherence that remains in place and doesn't waver, while all these fragments and ingredients of that I just described forming, becoming, and so much so that you think, my God, this is something I will never be able to be to get rid of. But I realized as I was on the airplane, this is apropos encountering obstacles in the studio. Yes, you know what? The greats of the last 100 years, those dozen figures that that when you hear their name and see their work, you say, I cannot mess with them. Let's say life and whatever it is that you are able to understand what life stands for and what your life stands for, it doesn't apply when it comes to these masters. It's just like you keep quiet and you take a step back and you widen your eyes and you rub your eyes like I'm doing now. Actually, I rub my eyes because they're little, they they call for some rubbing. Yeah, it wants to, the coherence is there like a solid rock, and and it earns a second chance for you, a break, because it thinks that you deserve it. And when you're an artist like I am, and devoted to the process and to the concept and to the idea that resides behind it, that actually gives you something to use as a proportion point of reference, that which is proportional to that which you will be giving now, and you don't have to work for it. It's just like being given because you've been identified as one who's worthy of it, who deserves it. And the reasons are obvious. So at the airplane, speaking of that, because I took the airplane as if it was my studio, I entered and there's an obstacle, and I'm like, what the heck? And then you hear voices, and then you say, I'm not crazy. How come I hear voices? And things are moving when there's nothing there to be moved, they're moving. And then you find the tricks to leap over that and kind of find yourself already at the doorstep, the starting line of that boiling zone. You got to start painting. You got to be painting. You got to find yourself already painting, and concluding a journey, and concluding after the conclusion, and then concluding the conclusion of concluding. And so I'm in the airplane, and I think I ate a lousy rotten pizza at Kennedy Airport. Something, I don't know. I was hungry. I knew better not to buy that pizza, but I said, whatever. Uh, I ate that pizza. It was somewhat okay, tasty, but I knew whatever. Had a drink. Got on the plane. Was very very tired, and I was like on an aisle seat next to the window, actually in the middle, and I fell asleep. And then when I suddenly I woke up, and I felt like I am like, what was it? I felt like I wasn't sure where I was. I guess because I was so tired and I fell asleep. It was deep sleep for a couple of hours. And then I just felt like I need to go to the bathroom. I felt like throwing up. And that feeling of wanting to throw up was accompanied by a minute feeling of panic attack because I felt hot. And because actually it was hot in the airplane, and the fact that I woke up I just woke up, just added to that kind of feeling of heat. And but then it was strange. I stood up and I said, "Oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna die or something." So I'm heading towards the bathroom, and then the airplane started shaking and shaking, and the fasten your seatbelt light came on, and the stewardess just approached me and said, "You have gotta, sir, you gotta go to the seat, back to your seat, back to your seat." And I said, I gotta go to the bath. I have to. I feel like I'm going to throw up, whatever." So she shoved the bag in my hand. She said, "Go back to your seat." And then I realized. I said, "What am I doing? What is it really that's happening?" But this is the benefit of asking a question that you don't expect any answer to. You just ask it because you know that asking it is already giving you that kind of think again, think again, take a break, stop right here, think about it, slow down. So I went back to my seat and I said, there is no way that I'm going there. So I started breathing, just basic breathing, just that Kabbalistic 3 in, 1 out, 1 in, 3 out, kind of. And I felt that the person next to me understood what I was doing and was actually impressed that I'm managing to control myself and to control the potential fear due to a panic attack that presents fear that is operated by fear factors. So, then I said, okay, I got the picture. I am not someone who suffers from panic attack, from panic attacks. And this happened to me, and I got out of it. And I should be happy that I was able to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And I didn't want to have to fall to pieces in order to gather my pieces back into being me again, when I could have like done what I eventually did and prevailed. So now you remove yourself to the studio where you record your music and write your poetry and paint your paintings. And then I remember the importance of frowning. In the early stages of my journey, I used to kind of form this automatic frown. My forehead was so strongly and impressionly ahead of me, doing a lot of the work for me, that due to that work, I I gain time. I gain time to deal with the real issues. Now, why would one spend time in the studio that one have created for himself or herself? Why? Why going to the extent that one would go, and with the level of care and concern, uh, if not to do exactly what it is that you set up to do? So I remember in those early stages, I I was like a mathematician. I was like like someone who asks the questions not as questions were to be asked, and as far as the answers are concerned, would be the answers, but not the answers that one would expect, not the nature of the answers, the way the answers is being presented, and whether it's as a reaction, or whether it's just as a sense of duty that comes to life, and therefore there's it triggers the it triggers um, that that which is called for, really. And what's called for is really a sip of my coffee right this second. And I wanted to read you. um, I read in the past. I read to you the my projects, the 117 and 100. 117 poems, and it will be just too much for me even to explain. Um, but this is just a gesture to Mother Nature, a gesture to the world. You write a hefty amount of full body of poems, and then you were talking about your paintings, your poems. We're talking about your musical instruments, your paintings. We're talking about your paintings, your musical instruments, your poems. We're talking about that. A interactive, obligated, full of meaning in the sense of carrying, being able to carry its own weight. But I'll come back to that conclusion from that point where I left it off by saying that uh, the questions that were asked that really were not asked in the fashion that one would expect questions were to be asked, as far all the way to as far as answers that being answered in the fashion or in a way that one cannot really um, imagine that that's what's actually taking place. Just give me a second. Okay, so yeah. Oh, look at that! Wonderful. Woo. So, um, so in that sense, you want to be able to relate to the material at its stage of deliverance, and this is 66 out of 100. Believe you, dark dust bleeding from the north. Some debris will direct our faith to a safe haven, dripping as should the fantastic speed of magic. It slows down the metabolism of our negative with nature, blind spots greet the weakness needed to topple you, as your soul is being introduced to options that your spirit will not accept. I took a puff of resilience prior to entering your abyss, not the kind that spreads poison, but rather the kind that quicksands. I held on tight to the outside world. I wanted you to continue your dialogue upon which we thrive. That bleakness of yours could not have withstand my grin, my regard to your vitality, necessity, wisdom, softness, humor, cleverness, desire, selflessness, regard to a good nature, regard to a new nature of the kind you have displayed all along, oblige me to present you with a new beginning as my passion is mixed up with it, to greet the angels, to place the sharp and the stamp of the divine interference, a stamp of the love of God over the smooth surface of contactless speed, delivering us ever so closer to the hands of the ultimate care, that which stares and melts and grins as a gesture of partnership. So it's almost like you say, someone wants to do away with one's life. I hate to say kill oneself or suicide. Someone wants to believe that there's nothing, there's no more left to justify life. And then there's then there's your appearance. And that appearance is making the difference between life and death. How about that? So that's what this was all about. But I want to go to number 63. Uh, yes, this is wiser than wise, it seems. Stretch of opposite wheels to gather outside comfort zones. Not even a glimpse into hosting a get together of food wills. Remember, remember, you sure did. You sure did your remembering while darkness lingered around the border of loyal joints, giving constant thumbs up. I guess it was my impoliteness that reminded you of your purpose. I mean, a grasp of eagerness with a de escalation, both erupting, and your song in the middle glows then, flows then, grows, adding softness so crucial to have to have you earn your life back altogether. Trust me, friend, trust me with the love I have for you. And the wrong way, right need, wrong turn, right gesture, wrong appeal, right healing, wrong tone, right hope, wrong seat, right light, wrong attitude, right place, wrong story, right pain, wrong love, wrong posture, right plead, wrong time, right knowledge, wrong swing, right hit, wrong pilot, right conquer, wrong self, right person. I thought it was like a continuation to that continue to that confusion of what's there left for us. Sometimes you kind of have to come to terms with what reality is telling you, and you say, what's this? And then you think it's over, and then you just take one step forward, and it's actually just starting all over again. Meaning with regard overlapping a homestead. We find ourselves in the midst of loving each other, almost second guessing our accumulating pleasure. Never mind now, my ride um, has just arrived. How about another kiss to sweeten the crush around the corner, patiently awaiting to teach me a lesson I do not deserve? Wow, that was a deal breaker, teaching me a lesson I do not deserve. I used your inhalation on its way to exhale that special admiration you had stored for me. Who is this stranger observing us? Never mind. You were saying? Oh, yes, it does taste heavenly. Eh, opening wide, deeming like pivoting roundabout, born to be at the center of learning occasionally. And the fear becomes then tiny concerns, sliver of natural precautions. They lets out a cry in a singular dismay. Your pain consumes itself as a way of introducing a screen, a story, an outline, a hint, evident, carrying through the density with a flaring delight. Hey, hey, you, find a way to steer the pot and somehow a blatant demise blasting across the conquered space, maybe even inwardly false and free of anything, freely in moments of self loss, slapping to the music of the passionate singer, importing the thump of meet and greet with a sudden appearance. It turned out to be you, and it was wrongly suggested that you gave that that you gave a, a second chance, a reinterpretation of long lost rituals on the behalf of which great men rose to the right and nights out worlds strive on the promises better handling all that which the the yeah, so that's actually that which the works throws our way. I mean, the entire group of ever achievers shutting the door, which might be the one that only yours to have. He in real time grows with the crowd pleaser. You have what it takes to satisfy a wild gathering of rhythm seekers, accelerating with a plead between their teeth, knowing all too well how babies come to the world. The hint under the brush, a brush of fast track daredevils blinded by the speed their attempts take them. It happens over and over again without the acceptation that their energy brings to the table. Everyone knows everybody moves to the music. Almost everybody saw your struggle and you felt it bouncing back, grounding a desire to settle down and adapt. Sweet regime of gathering bravery. You stick out as you are supposed to be a wholesome availability. Your time has come. Breathe to cool off smears left behind down the slippery slope you imagine aggressively. It works for you to hate the thought you might be able to hurt yourself. I touched your head once in the dark to greet you halfway, as a reminder of God's existence in your heart. You responded even before you realized it was me. I was taken to the instant merger, by the instant merger. It was calling me long after I have responded. It was a wish gathering. Therefore, I turned my head, and there you were, lost in your own drop of light. I was approaching the center of the dark halo you were consumed by, quickly, abruptly, strongly, decisively, sweetly, internationally. You were erasing your name off of the chart which carried your name for generations. And you kept on scrubbing as you were lending yourself to the mercy of the outcome with a mind of its own. And then I reminded you in the nick of time, and you avoided the danger. And you are with us now, and it pays to pay, as indeed it saves lives, though your mouth cringed and hardened. Freezing winds carry on from far away, dream images supporting the sense of all dreams thrive and elevate high, high into brief, sober encounters, as hard of seeing grassroots, boiling grain of close encounters, and to touch clearness so abruptly, so full of senses of belongingness, the obvious fraction of the blast to repeat, stumbling people, individuals, scratching rhythms. What a softy and whirling gear of exhilarations, a rugged smite sensibly reoccurring, drumbeats of your own, and air slicing. It slices and drench prior decisions, signaling with private gestures willing to get closer and closer till a separating minute finding and spread the notion, sing along, and drama filled with sublime, a wise wish to cause the act of release, form afar. And then that's good actually. 45 out of 100. A wish to cause the act of release from afar, please, and not to delay this time, not now, not across these, not across these art matters sleeve wrapped through the extent bloom blushingly left to fend and remark within a blip of express portions, lest prior to mesh flattering loud and clear, piercing eye and home fronts blending as should be for the equation of belongingness, opposite to hush blink and tight sending away, brought to its knees, leveraged by epic, was to introduce ground pops up, head high and roasted at the brink of the no return by means of superiority of the securing at red-faced snappy new age blushing dream, oh dream lastingly and above the turn unknown, so to speak, whatever slow perk dimensions, with a note or two while you toil with options of cease meant, with a note or two while you toil with the option of cease meant, and dry knowledge leading to, with so to speak, playwright's circular motion, lure, lure, as from center sideways, to be right and tied, with roll soil exceptionally, with roll and soil exceptionality inflated within the perimeters of stability, drum roll, besides a crawl over by sense of direct addresses, dreamlike at its last fluency, and dead you all, dead you all, symbol to drive a peak, and its last turn to outsmart around and around and around, labels of wisdom gathering souls entering a black cloud. It was a backwards resemblance to prior dark era show slow motion. Bravery plays the role of hypnosis, working backwards, losing track with guidelines to grieve intimately. That means a granted triumph, and the role and the whole calling for the low level features to examine and trying and extending the offer of blasts, tripling in impact with the cursed personality driving between the pods that work against you. So, no groping advices, no telling a story for an exchange of any of the trimmings of the nuisance of a wait and tell as a flow of confidence whispers a promise in your ears. Please tell me you heard it, what I have just accumulated with you. Tell me, moreover, begging for an alternative plan. I need to check something here. Good. Sounds good. Moreover, begging for an alternative plan, a hike, a climb into the empty space, empty space halfway through. You never know when the royal family appears. Through the crowd, through the impact of debris, your sadness now qualifies as an object of tribal decorations of the troubled soul, while your joy leads you to leads you through the path of erratic changes, adding the velocity of an unpredictable, erupting emotional deposits as they relate to all the incidents that cannot be qualified by dates or any other point of references for documentation purposes, and occasionally you spring with the contents of blasts long overdue, and you satisfied as you are terrified. But reaching to the heavens will bring salvation, though the timing does not guarantee a proper, timely wound nursing. So when it's your turn to swing back into action, the shade of your profile demands a unique relationship with a cross implementation between layers so crucial for growth, yet potentially overburdening your system to its almost capacity. You are the lucky one. In this case, you are grieving by the nature of your becoming the power you so seek to possess. Bravo. Even prematurely, even as a smoke detector, even before the jury, ever, even when you sit terribly isolated, squeezed in a way that directs you to reach out without the usual rituals as your inner alert system gathers and it gathers the bravery to seek in the total dark and still be surrounded with the decency of a fighter whose venture carry him over the horizon. Well done, larger than life as you are and always has been. Wink, wink. Prior to the yeah, that's what the routine. Okay, this is the last one. 36 out of 100. Righteous maneuver, a blink of prize winning Iron Man. It was a quiet celebration, a swinging roundabout, trimmed to perfection, a sample of a one way time there, an eclipse of wrong turns grinding the teeth of whale watchers. And a close look reveals a strong desire to live, and the hint did not bother the slip to slip the bill to the other end of the table. because sometimes it's not the usual case of rounding the usual suspects, and you gave yourself the rare moment, and you made a special use of it. You healed the meanest, the harsh treatment of treating the slow burning mixture of elements, brightening the inner passages of an obvious willingness that leads to a fair sharing in a fair environment with a fair projection about a fair tendency to do good by others. And now it's time to unhindered and lay the facts on the table and tell the story of an emotional accuracy, narrate as if a field tale finally finds a relief, and pass on the greatest testimony of love. Love thyself as a first and foremost requirement. Aren't you lucky, you cheap bastard? Well, I thought it was just trying to. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, one little shiny one. And what is it? Yeah, one little shiny one that's actually right there. And, and I think I should go from. But I think I should go more like towards. Yeah, 15 out of 100 early on in the process, and that's how I'm going to conclude. As we're sitting here, actually, August 25th, year 2023, Friday afternoon, here with the Hello Hello Show. And my name is Haim Mizrahi. And concluding by mellow the media of quiet promises, you were anchored deep. It's all a matter of suppressed remorse settling squarely, tight fit. I, for a change, drove a hard bargain. It was a single occurrence. It was a deep sigh in the neighborhood of rough terrains. A sweet recall from scratch as we were allowed to proceed uninterrupted, without an incident, a block away from respite. Dreamlike now, it figures a gravity with an established grip, an artistic one, a sequel with a rupture, universal, controversial, peaceful, in the broken down fashion. Bring me the configuration, bring me the space to grab the holding on to firmness. I was flown to many ends and not a clue to flash directions. Last minute, the rollover of a tip of an iceberg sprang. No one knew about the shakedown, only flesh measurements. No one knew about the shakedown, only flesh measurements, tipsy as they were, granted the necessary appeal to gain a favorable gross, enough to greet this probability with a suitable respect. A blink of the light, bleak, brought down to its knees, proceeded to bail out the deserved, as the world through its human inhabitants deserves a second chance. And that pretty much spells granting desperation with forgiveness. I mean, greeting desperation with forgiveness. I thought it was a good note to conclude, and I wanted to thank you again for watching. And my guest, Steve Raum, never showed up today, but I forgive him. I fell asleep. And we're actually taking down the show, the group art show, and this coming Monday, Tuesday, and then Dan Walden is going to be here for the month of September. And we're going to be here tomorrow as much as we were here yesterday and as much as we were here this afternoon or Friday afternoon, August 25th, year 2023. And my name is Haim Mizrahi, here with the Hello Hello Show. Keep up the good spirits and enjoy 2 more weeks for Labor Day. And it should be Actually, I feel the energy, and I hope you do too. And I hope you will manage to enjoy it. God bless.